Hey, everybody, and welcome to another one of our awesome casual chats. You guys are the ones who are making it so awesome, and thank you so much for all joining in. And this is a show that is all about really celebrating and highlighting these exceptionally irresistible individuals, such people like as our incredible guest who we have here, Deanna. She is absolutely incredible. I absolutely love her story. I love what she's all about, what she's doing. And today we are highlighting and celebrating Deanna. So without further ado, hello, Deanna.
Thank you, Jeremy. I really appreciate being here. It's wonderful.
For sure. So Diana did share with us her bio, and I'm going to be reading it, and then we're going to go right into Diana's story and what she's all about. So this is exciting. And right here. So Kai Financial was established in 2021 by Deanna O'Neal to bring financial wellness into her community. Diana is an accredited financial counselor and has been a financial advisor educator for more than 20 years. She has degrees in accounting, finance, and business management. Diana had a really interesting journey in the financial world. Along the way, she discovered the true meaning of financial wellness and now has a passion to help others achieve it through financial coaching and financial trauma recovery. I love that term. She is a wife, a mother, and loves to dance. So this is so exciting. I have a plethora of questions about this incredible bio. The very first thing I think that I right away found unique about you was, and that's why kind of like I had that Freudian slip in there, the financial advisor,
Mhm.
which I like how you make that difference of a financial educator. So if you could just share us, a little bit more on your journey, it kind of shares out of here a bit, but tell us who Diana is, how she got to where she is, and I'd love to hear more about this financial educator thing. I love it.
Well, definitely. I believe in financial education and the power of financial education. Financial advisory has been around for a very long time. And a lot of times we call it advising because they're kind of telling you, guiding you, but really not educating. And so there's this
Mm,
huge gap. And it's actually something I read just the other day in Forbes was talking how there is this massive separation between financial advisors and the clients. They actually say it's as
mm,
big as an ocean sometimes.
wow.
And that's how they refer to it. And so, what is going to help people cross an ocean? Well, you can't
Mm,
expect them to walk over it. You have to help them build a boat. Well, how do you help them build a boat? You help them build that by educating them, by helping them
mm,
understand their financial situation. And so that's been my passion. I've had the
mm,
ability to work in nonprofits where all we've done is the education piece. And I said, well, what if I can educate and help them cross this ocean and
mm,
then give them the advisory capability? And so that's
mm.
where I've combined my passions in creating my business, which is actually KI is actually pronounced key in
Okay.
Japanese. So it's key financial
Mhm.
because the key is kind of the inner key to your soul. Let's help you figure
Mm,
out how to relate to your financial wellness, financial well being through this
mm.
education so that you can be whole, because really that's what it's all about.
That's awesome. And I had to rewrite my questions because of your awesome bio. so so I was gonna ask you, like what is it something that you're so passionate about, which clearly you so well articulated right here. But I'm more curious about there had to be some kind of turning point in your life, in your journey, in something that you've done, especially with like your background and everything that you've studied and accomplished. Like share us a little bit more about that little sort of shift. Like what was that like aha moment for you that was like, no, I'm not an advisor, I'm an educator.
Well, it's interesting when you ask that aha moment. I wasn't even planning on studying finance or accounting. That
Wow.
was not my. I went to college to study music, dance, and theater.
Oh wow.
I
There's your
had
love for music.
I had a music scholarship. This was great.
Wow.
And then reality kind of hit. Went,
uh,
what am I going to do? No, I was studying IT
mm,
because I said, well, let's get a career that can actually make some money, and then music and dance can be my passion on the side. While I was studying for my IT degree, I started volunteering at an organization
mm,
that helps military families um, with financial education. And it was
mm.
like, you know, the
Wow.
lights went off. I get this. This makes sense.
Mhm.
This is what This is
Sure.
what I can do. This is me. And so making
Mhm.
sure that I had that change of path really was ideal. When it
Mhm.
comes down to it, though, I started analyzing my background, and it really, my childhood, everything kind of led up to this. So it was kind of a no
Mm.
brainer. So I switched to the accounting and said, let's figure out how to do this. Let's figure out how I can bring what makes sense to me to the masses.
Right. And so like that kind of like is the second part of the question is like, well, why is this so important to you? Like what about it makes this because like I'm gonna actually give a little bit of context to my question. This way might make more sense. Um it does connect to that becoming exceptionally irresistible that we're talking about a lot, is that I feel that individuals who are unhappy in their jobs, in their businesses, and whatever it is that they're doing is more because they are focused on like, well, I just need to pay the bills or whatever, get an anything job just to get by, whatever it is.
Hmm.
But they often kind of like overlook what truly makes them happy, their talent, their, that what brings them fulfillment or anything like this. And you are clearly passionate about music and you are clearly passionate about dance, and perhaps that was your path in life or whatever it is, and all of a sudden you fell upon this financial stuff and everything. Well, like what about that financial was, I mean, why financial over music? Or I mean, maybe they're against each other, but what changed there? Like, that's, I'm so curious to find out.
It is an interesting shift. Music is a passion. I still love music. I still love dance, and I do dance still
Hmm.
because it's important to me. But taking it back to where I was raised and my childhood, I realized at a very young age that money was important to pay
Hmm.
the bills, to live. I saw my father. He owned his own business, and it was amazing to watch him. When we were young, and I don't think people are allowed to do this anymore, but they brought the kids to work. During the
Hmm.
summers, we lived at his store. That's
Wow.
where we were. And so I was watching him deal with it constantly. Unfortunately, at a fairly young age, my parents got divorced.
Mm.
And then I watched my mother struggle. I watched her
Mm.
try and work two jobs to pay the bills. And so I was
Mm.
watching and just observing and seeing how hard it was. And so when I made the choice as a young adult in college, I started researching my passion and realized
Mm.
that, well, first of all, that's not probably going to pay the bills very much. I mean, to be successful
Mhm.
as a musician or a dancer is very hard. It's sometimes more
Mhm.
difficult than becoming a professional athlete.
Mhm.
And so I said that's why I shifted to IT, because that was supposed to be the moneymaker. It was,
Right.
the late 90s. This is what everybody's going into, right?
Sure.
And I'm so glad that I found the financial part of it, the accounting part, the finance, because it does make me happy. Whereas I think
Mm.
if I had done my career in IT, I'd be just like one of those people you talked about. Oh, go pay the
Yeah.
bills, work. Yes, I could do it, but would it make me happy and would I be thriving
Mm.
in life? I don't think so.
Right. One more quick, well, just like as you said this, as you gave me this sort of like journey and how you got here, I wonder if did you ever take the time, or maybe you do it, I don't know, but did you ever take the time to sort of marry your two passions? Like, is there any elements of dance that you bring into your, accounting slash financial education and stuff like this?
I would say yes. And I think because, well, I try to embody the real me. I'm not
Mhm.
trying to bring myself to be anybody else or
Mhm.
pretend like I, am a certain type of person. And so in dance, what is it? Expression. It's all about
Mhm.
expression on how you're feeling or how you're understanding. And so when you
Mm.
come to financial education, it's like, well, is that expression? Do we have emotions that go with it? And the
Mm.
answer is yes. So being
Mm.
genuinely me and helping people understand that I want to know the genuine them really helps
Mm.
them express themselves. And that's actually led to my current research, where I'm doing a lot of help identifying financial traumas and things like that, because there is
Mm.
so much more in depth when it comes to our financial wellness and our financial well-being,
Sure.
that we have to be true to ourselves. So when you
Mm.
talk about marrying the two, I think it's really a philosophy that I take from
Mhm.
dance that I apply to my financial education and my practice.
That's incredible. And that reminds me of another thing about this financial trauma, which is, I think you're the first one I've ever heard coined that term. Forgive my ignorance, perhaps, or maybe you are the one who termed it, but I love it. Because I do follow a lot of, educational wellness, financial wellness and financial, healthy mindsets around finances. We talk a lot about the abundance mindset, stuff like this. But I actually do see the connection. So I talk about this in another show. We actually had another financial kind of coach advisor. He helps with the whole mindset around finances. Actually, smart idea. I should connect you guys. You're gonna love Will. So there you go, right there. But Will was talking about how, like we were talking about this mindset that we have around finances, and I was sharing with him how I've discovered that it had a lot to do with like generational trauma, our misconceptions around finances, that scarcity mindset, all these kind of our approach to money in a sense, comes from this, generational trauma. I wonder if that's any relation at all to the financial trauma that you're talking about. I'm curious to learn more about like what your approach is on that.
Well, and it is. And so financial trauma as an ideal in the philosophy sector or in the counseling sector has definitely been around. And usually it's identified as big traumas, large
Hmm.
traumas, like someone suffering homelessness. That is a huge
Okay.
financial trauma, or someone suffering an abusive relationship. Those are big financial traumas. But what
Hmm.
I look at is the little ones, which you've mentioned, the generational. There's the
Mhm.
systemic, there's the relationship, the intergenerational financial traumas,
Mhm.
which can be very small, but
Mhm.
consistently applied can really impact the way a person thinks and reacts and their ability to deal with money
Mhm.
because they've been so ingrained in them. And
Right.
so, for instance, we've all probably heard the term money doesn't grow on trees.
Right.
We've all heard that. My father used to always say that. Well, I don't have a money tree in the backyard.
Uh-huh.
And it's interesting because that's just something that we all think about. But did you ever think that that actually is framed the way you think about money? It's
Right.
actually guided your choices. Well, yeah, it doesn't grow on trees. But you know what? If you change your mindset, it kind of does, actually.
True. True.
And this is where helping people understand, and sometimes people hate the word trauma because
Mhm.
trauma
Yeah.
seems so deep. And so
Mm.
sometimes I'll call them money blocks, roadblocks,
Right.
money
Right.
blocks, things that are stopping you, things that are
Sure.
preventing you from becoming your best financial self. And so,
Mhm.
yes, it is that same thing, dealing with scarcity mindsets, dealing with abundance mindset, dealing with, um, like, there's the, like I said, societal traumas, because
Sure.
sometimes it is societal, sometimes it's systemic.
Sure.
People of different race, religion, creed, color, they have different environmental impacts that are going to create
Mhm.
these financial traumas. And so it's looking at all of those and looking at how we can identify them. Because once you
Right.
identify it, then you can start to learn how to overcome it. If you
Mm.
never identify it, you're never going to overcome it, and you're going to be in the same pattern your entire life.
Yeah. And I just to give like a little bit of context to the audience that are listening, what Diana is saying is really true, and you hear this a lot. And I can only talk from the way I was raised as well. Growing up in an Orthodox Jewish community, I heard a lot about, well, it costs very expensive to live Jewish. Everything is more expensive living Jewish. Everything is kosher is more expensive, or all these things. Holidays. Big meals. Family over. All these different elements. All that is more expensive. And I actually had this one teacher. He's like, what do you think? Money grows on trees or something? Like he said like the same thing. I said, no, but the paper that the money's printed on is, so, so I was that
It's
kind of
true.
kid, hey, they're good. I believe that money will always be printed. I don't think we'll ever run out of money in a sense, there's always going to be more money to fill in the
Hmm.
lack of money in a sense. So, um, but I share this because you're right. It's really these stereotypes or these um, judgments or whatever it is. And I think the more I got involved with the community and the more I got involved with the different volunteer backgrounds that I've had, you're so right. I think that a lot of stuff, this it's really this mindset that we were ingrained with as some depends if it was generational or it was just societal or whatever it was. And until you don't actually really open up your mind and remove those blocks, you don't realize how like financially, how much finances actually play in and could actually transform your life in so many different ways. And it's unbelievable. And you're so right when it comes to that. I really do appreciate how you explained it and that you're touching upon this.
Well, thank you. And it is something that I do one-on-one. And so part of my practice is coaching people, helping them
Mm-hmm.
get, from now to their future. That's kind of how I look at it, because what are we
Right.
trying to do with money? We're trying to create a future, but we also want to focus on the now. And
Mm-hmm.
so I have, worked with people in all different aspects, people who are doing really what they say, I'm doing great financially,
Mm-hmm.
but it's helping them identify what their blocks are. So maybe
Right.
they're able to make money, but they're not able to spend.
Mm.
And it's interesting trying to just see these different blocks that keep people from living their best life. That's what it's all about. And so when I work with clients and individuals or businesses, even to help them understand, because it can actually relate into a business mindset too.
Mm-hmm.
Businesses fail for all sorts of reasons. This is just one of them,
Right.
because the business reflects the owner's mindset. And so helping them create a good mindset, a profitable mindset, a mindset that allows them to create the most financially productive business is very
Mm-hmm.
important. So
Wow.
it's all of that. And I love working with it. And it's been so, I say fun, because this really does, engage me. And so it really just helps me live my best life.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're so right, and it really is fun. I love that you use that word, fun and exciting, and it's absolutely exhilarating. And the reason why I say that is because I this past week I had my like a recent aha moment when it came to finances. I always like to believe that I'm pretty financial savvy, and I mean, I was able to finish all my student loans before I even graduated. So I paid off
Oh,
all graduate. Yeah, I think it was about a month or two before I even graduated. I like to say I was walking into school and saying, "Hey, I'm here for free," kind of thing, like I'm already paid off kind of situation. So I like to say that I was pretty financial savvy, but these like there were these roadblocks that I didn't even know were roadblocks. Here's the thing, like I didn't even know that they were roadblocks.
mm-hmm.
And recently I won, like there was some kind of raffle I got into for a free credit on Audible for an audiobook. And I won it, and I was like, really excited about that. And the guy asked me how many, what book do you want, and I just gave him a list of like, here's some titles that are on my wish list. Pick and choose whichever you
Mm-hmm.
want. And he sent me this one about taxes and how taxes actually work to your benefit in a sense. And I
Mm-hmm.
was like, huh, like, and I always saw taxes as this really like negative thing. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
always cringe when it comes tax season and like I have to pay taxes or whatever I mean. And when I was reading this book, and he was like completely demolishing every single myth I had believed from the past. And I've never heard a person talk this way. And then obviously my questioning kind of ability is like, well, I'm going to Google search, if this guy's even like full of it or whatever. And I actually started searching, and I was like, dang, like there's really a tax benefit for this, and there's a tax benefit for that, and there's a this for that. And I was like, this stuff is for real. Like my entire mind just like was blown.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I didn't even know that this was a roadblock I had. I thought it was just the normal, whatever. Um, but then it's incredible that like sometimes, like this is what I'm saying to the audience, reach out to Deanna, because sometimes there's roadblocks you don't even know are roadblocks. So it's
Mm-hmm.
incredible. And like I just is this something that you do see a lot or
Oh, definitely. It seems like everybody has something, um, some kind of deep ingrained roadblock that stops them
mm,
from, even if it's a small thing, whether it's their fear of taxes,
mhm.
which again, I'm the one who's like, sweet, I got all my tax stuff. Yes, let's do this. This is fun.
Yeah. I don't know.
Or
Not that.
you're not there yet.
Not there yet. Yeah.
Or it's the person who doesn't like money. Because they don't like money, money's not
Mm,
attracted to them. And there's a lot of thought in the universe, the law of attraction and how things work.
sure.
And so it's very interesting when it's like, well, you don't show money any gratitude or any
Mm,
love or likeness or whatever you want to say. Well, how do you expect it to like you back? And
mm,
they go, huh. And it's really fascinating. And I had
interesting.
one
Yeah.
client and she's like, money just stresses me. It gives me anxiety. I said, why does it give you anxiety? Because I'll never have enough.
Mm,
And it's that. It's helping
mhm,
the small things. A lot of people are like, I'm good. I'm like, great. That's wonderful. Let's talk about something else. Let's figure out if you do have money blocks. And I definitely, and I do want to mention here, I do not have a psychology degree.
mhm,
I'm not a therapist. Sometimes when dealing with money, though, a lot of other issues come out. And
mm,
so we have to have those connections to refer
yeah.
because people need sometimes to get other mental health trauma or any of that kind of help
Mhm,
in order to evaluate. And so sometimes there is deep, but most of the time it's just small things. It's the mindset and the ability to learn to like your money.
mm,
Show it
right.
some love.
Yeah, no, I love that. I absolutely, absolutely love that. And I do remember growing up, like I was always said, "Oh, you love money," and they said it in a really like negative way.
Mhm,
"Oh, you're just a money hungry person," or something like
mhm,
this. And I often would look at it and I was like, "And what's the problem with that exactly?" Well, I mean, the thing is that in the beginning there was a trauma associated to it.
mhm,
I never thought I was good enough, or I never thought I was a good enough person, or something like that. So when saying I'm a money hungry person, it sounded like, I'm this stingy, whatever, hold on to my money for my sake. But then when I started learning more and digging deep in that growth part of me, all of a sudden the money part of it started making sense. And I was like,
mhm.
well, I'm a very generous individual. I'm a very good person. And I see money, that helps generate wealth in the world and that helps make this world a better place. And it costs money to do good, if to solve hunger, it costs money to, all these things cost money. So it's really interesting that you say that it does connect to
Mm.
other forms of trauma. And I definitely relate to that. And this is one thing I love about these kind of shows and these kind of, like, I'm learning. To me, it's more my time for learning and for my time to grow in a sense. And I'm inviting such incredible people. And again, thank you so much for showing up. Um, but like I always wonder, it's like, and share if you will, like, what are areas right now that you're growing, personally? Like, what's your journey looking like? And what are you seeing? What are you discovering right now?
Oh, so much, so much. I'm always in a journey.
Sure.
And it's interesting because obviously I've worked many, many different positions throughout my career with working nonprofits. I've worked in the corporate sector. I've done a lot of different things. But my journey right now is being a business owner. This is the
Mm,
first, starting Key Financial was the first step of me actually running my own business. And so that
wow.
is a huge journey. And
Sure.
I, have to keep myself in check because sometimes as business owners we always go, oh, how come it's not where we want it, you
Right.
know and I look at that, and then I look at it from a different perspective, like a mother perspective, when I tell my child, well, you can't get everything right now, you
Mm,
have to wait and grow and learn. So then I try to apply that back to me. So that's definitely a big journey, is the patience, the
sure.
understanding. But it's more than that, it's the becoming really, really true to myself, because
Mm,
so much of our lives, so many people spend so much time. I mean, a lot of times they'll say wearing a mask in public, they're a different person. They tried not to be the same because they don't feel like they're good enough, or they don't feel like they'll be accepted if they show their
mhm.
true colors. And I really, in the last few years, have said, you know what? I'm going to be the same me at home, out in
Yeah.
public, wherever I'm at. You're going to get me. You're going to get the unique and one and only me, because that's who I am. And so that is my current journey, is trying to figure
Mm,
out, am I really being true to myself in everything I do? Am I really embracing who I am, how I work with people, how I talk with individuals? Because that's constant. We have to consistently grow in who we are, but we have to
sure.
understand who we are too. So that's definitely my journey right now.
Yeah. No, thank you so much for sharing it. Like, I really appreciate you sharing that. And you see, I asked this because I've discovered, and through these kind of shows and through these kind of, situations, is what I've learned is that there's a common denominator with every expertise, where like we had people who are, parenting experts, we had educators, we had different people in different businesses and different parts of their life in a sense. And I asked, and I've discovered and I've observed that everything in a sense is this growth opportunity. Everything is this self-development in a sense. To be the best financial educator, you need to grow as an individual. To be the best teacher in a school, you need to grow as an individual. To be the best parent, you need to grow as an individual. All these different, I think there has been a pattern already established with so far all the episodes of this show. And, I'm just noticing that everybody I'm talking to in my personal journey tie it back to some kind of like, well, I'm discovering myself. I have to be authentic. I have to be, if I don't bring my best foot forward, I'm just not the best of whatever I'm doing. And then I'm just another one, or people will just kind of like smell it out, and then they just won't be attracted to me, and I think that ties in well to that exceptionally irresistible situation.
I agree. I very much do. And I love how you call it exceptionally irresistible. That's just, it encapsulates so much of who we're trying to be and who we want to work with and who we want to get in touch with, and create that in everybody, because you can do that. And I love how you call it that. It really struck a chord with me when I met you, and just, it does embody all of that.
Absolutely. Because we really, really do believe that everybody is already exceptionally irresistible. We really believe that. Baruch and I, my partner and I, we really believe that everybody's exceptionally irresistible. And unfortunately, some people don't believe it yet about themselves. So we hope to kind of like empower them and remind them how exceptional they are and how irresistible they actually are. And we are all on a journey of becoming more exceptionally irresistible. Because at the end of the day, we all want to live a better life, a more intrinsically happy life. And it does require sometimes that, well, I mean, all the times actually, it requires that work on ourselves and that look in the mirror and that growth and everything. And, we have this thing that we always say, everybody has a unique individual fingerprint, and it's upon them to leave that mark on the world. That is noticeable. Like if you actually analyze that mark, it's them. There's only one person who has your fingerprint, and that's really what it encapsulates. At the end of the day, we're all on a journey, and we're all struggling with something. We all have a roadblock somewhere, and we all have something to do, and we're growing. And hopefully, we're growing for the sake of also not just for ourselves, but that irresistible component where we're also looking to benefit a third person, like you were sharing in your story, which again, as I said, I absolutely love. So it's incredible what you do.
Well, I thank you so much. I mean, I love sharing it, and it really is all about that. It's about benefiting, and I like to think it makes me a little different in the financial world because, there's so many misconceptions or preconceptions of the financial world. It's all about money making money and making rich people richer. And people who like money are Ebenezer Scrooges out there. And that's where we see it. But I do this because I love to help people understand it. And I want people to embrace it and be more comfortable in their life. And since finances and money is such a huge part of our life, even if we don't think about it, it really is. It's something we do every single day. We spend money, we earn money, something to that effect. It's such a huge part. And so if it's out of balance, you're not in a full holistic wellness. And so I'm trying to help people understand that part of their entire wellness, is financial wellness too. And so locally, I'm part of this Live Well community locally. And I was talking to the creator of our community network, and she's like, no one ever explained it like that, but it makes so much sense.
Yeah.
It needs to be part of our full personal wellness. And so that's my goal. My mission is to help everybody feel financially well, which is kind of a strange thought. People are like, okay, I guess that makes sense. So there I am, and I'm trying to put my fingerprints down and help
I love it.
and do as much as I can, as big as I can get.
No, hey, that's incredibly awesome. And that one thing that I absolutely love about the exceptionally irresistible, journey and way, and that mindset of that exceptionally irresistible thing, and kind of like why I decided to go into that journey and help inspire others to follow that journey, is because your passion is so evident. Like the moment you talk about it, you light up and you're really excited about it and everything. And there's actually studies that show that passion is your driving force. And as every entrepreneur knows and every business person knows, there's going to be mornings you wake up where you're not motivated to do something. There's that lack of motivation or anything. But the moment, and as I hear your passion come out, it's really fed more by inspiration. You sound very inspired by the work that you do, which propels you to do the work effectively and grow in it and build on it. So I'm just curious about, and this is kind of like my last parts of my questions for you, is that if you were to have a dinner with any inspirational person, like somebody who inspires you, who would that be and why?
That is such a good question. There's so many people. I mean, and there's amazing, famous people out there that do inspire me. And it's interesting as I think about that. The first name that comes to mind is my son's 8th grade teacher.
Oh, wow. I love that.
She is so inspiring. She's one of the most amazing people I've met in this world. She taught English for his 8th grade, and just meeting her, she has been teaching for, I think, 35 years. And the students love her. They all want to visit her. They want to go back because she inspires something amazing in each one. She creates this safe space where they can just open up, be themselves, express themselves, and like themselves. And she does it with the parents too. It's so amazing. When you talk with her, you're like, wow, who are you? And how did we find you? And I've actually, hopefully we'll be able to grab a cup of coffee or something with her this summer because she's become a dear friend of mine.
Sure.
But she really does inspire me, and I want to be like her. I want to be this amazing teacher, educator, but more than that, just this wonderful human being.
Wow. And I'm just curious, like now that you mentioned, like you're actually one of the lucky ones who's actually has the ability to have a dinner or coffee or whatever with their inspiration. And what would it look like? Like, okay, you're sitting with coffee with her, you're chatting, you're whatever. What would be like your most burning question you'd want to ask her? I'm just super curious now.
Oh goodness, where does she get all her energy?
Yes, I want to know that answer.
And she's still going. Did I mention she runs a lot, does marathons and stuff too? She's one of those.
Oh my goodness.
No, she's really inspiring, but really, I think the question, and I'll have to maybe write this down so that I can ask her, is just, what is it that you see in people that other people don't see? Because I think she does. She sees something in every single person that others don't.
Wow. I'd love to hear the answer to that, because that's something I'm still growing and I'm still, discovering. And I think I'm pretty good at it. I'm told that I'm good at it, but I feel like we could always get better at that. And I love that question. I really, really do. That really strikes a chord with me. So I definitely have to follow up with you. Let me know when you have that coffee. I want to know that answer.
Hopefully if I can snag her. She's a teacher, so it has to be in the summer when she's not working 50 hours, 60 hours a week. So definitely.
Wow. Deanna, this has been something else. And I'm sure the audience is just like doing the bobblehead thing, Bart on our other show wants to get bobbleheads for every one of our guests. And he wants to just with every, because we're just always like this, Nice. I felt I had to do this show. So I do appreciate your time. And this was absolutely incredible. Anybody who's watching and who's listening, definitely connect with Deanna. It is Key Financials. That's KIFinancial.life or Deanna at Key. I'm learning the words here. KIFinancial.life. Or you could connect with her on LinkedIn. That's where I connected with her on. All these links and stuff is going to be in the show notes if you're watching it on YouTube. And if you're on LinkedIn, she's going to be tagged there. And so, and that's Deanna. So definitely connect with her. And last but not least, if you're looking down here on that little ticker situation, we are inviting you, the audience, and whoever's watching, to come and join us in this discussion, because we do want to highlight you and we want to celebrate you. And you have a chance to be in the spotlight. And so please reach out to us. You could either go through the website, yermikirkis.com, or exceptionallyirresistible@gmail.com. Please reach out to us, and we would love to celebrate, highlight you, and just empower you to continue on your incredible journey. So we want to hear your story. Please join us. And that pretty much concludes our show today. And again, Deanna, you are and you continue being such an inspiration and an awesome person. So I really hope people reach out to you, and I know we're going to continue our discussions on LinkedIn and offline, online, whichever way. So again, thank you so
Definitely.
much for today.
Well, it was my pleasure. I love speaking to you, and you make me smile, so that's good. And I really appreciate this. So I'd love people to reach out, and to you, to your show, because I think this is fantastic. It's a great platform. So thank you again for having me.
Thanks. All right, guys, have a good one and see you next time.